Hey tea heads, this is Don from Mayleaf. In this video, we're going to be unveiling 2 brand new Gushu PuErh cakes, and we're going to be seeing if we can taste the difference between the standard fine plucking of raw pu'er and Huangpian plucking. So let's get started immediately. Welcome to our brand new raw pu'er Gushu release. This is Shimmer Bliss Roadie. This is from Yiwu, and Celine has, as always, done an immaculate job on the illustration. She can't join us today. She is very heavily pregnant. And this is our Huangpian version. This is office gossip juice. As you know from last year, when we release a Huangpian, we have a different style. We make sure that we show you a little bit of Yunnan street life. So this is Yunnan street life. You can see the picker, the tea picker, sneakily checking her phone, checking out the office gossip juice. So these 2 are from Yiwu. Let's dive in, take a look at these leaves, and then we're going to be doing a taste test of Huangpian versus the standard picking. Okay, so let's open both of these up. This is Shimmer Bliss Roadie. Take a good look at this, beautiful. That classic Yiwu coloring, which is darker than a lot of other places. So you're getting more of those plum brown notes and a little bit of a sort of mustard yellow tinge to it. And then here we have office gossip juice. Side by side, the 2 of them together. Let's quickly scope these teas. So these are both spring 2019 teas. This one is picked in March 2019, and this one, the Huangpian, was picked over the period of March to April 2019. So this is a mix of different harvests from March to April. The cultivar of both of these is the Dayezhong variety, so the big leaf tea variety, although every single mountain area will have their own specific microgenetics. The origin is from Yiwu. They're both from the same village in Yiwu. In fact, if you saw our video from last year of us hunting Gushu in Yiwu, then you will remember the family that makes this tea. It's the same family that makes Nectarada and Downtown Hen Party, although I have to say that this is a combination of lots of different households in the same village. So when you're collecting Huangpian, there's not enough Huangpian to go around just from one family. So we've picked from Gushu plantations in the same village, high up in Yiwu Mountains. So Yiwu in Yunnan in China. Picking and processing is the main difference here. So obviously the processing is going to be the same. In other words, picked, sun withered for a little bit, the shaqing process, which is the heating process in woks, so hand fired, then rolled to release all of those essential oils, and then very importantly, sun dried. So the standard raw processing for raw pu'er. However, this, you can see the pickings are much finer. So this is a bud and up to 3 to 4 leaves. And this is mostly made up of the Huangpian. Huangpian, for those of you who don't know, are those leaves which are bigger. So when the shaqing process happens and the sun drying process happens, naturally you will find that some of the leaves, the bigger leaves, don't go this color, but stay a sort of yellow-green color. So Huangpian means yellow leaf. And these are normally picked out and reserved mostly for drinking in the village. So the farmers will take that tea and they will drink it. But we have commissioned the village to collect up their Huangpian from Gushu plants, and this is the Huangpian material. The age of the tea tree is about 200 to 300 years old, and the elevation is very high up in Yiwu Mountains, 1,700 meters. Super high grade, raw Gushu PuErh. We're going to be doing a taste test between the standard picking and the Huangpian picking. Shimmer Bliss Roadie and office gossip juice. Let's get started. So what I need to do is take about 5 grams of this leaf. I'm just going to eyeball it. So I'm not going to weigh it up, and inevitably I'll tend to put a little bit more probably. I would say, beautiful compression by the way, Really, really nice. This is the first time I've tried this tea, so lovely compression. I would say that there is a good 8 grams. I'll probably not use all of it. So let's leave that to one side. And I will put this over here. And now we have the office gossip juice. Very different look in the color, right? So now we've got these yellow, sort of lime green leaves. And because of the fact that they're larger leaves, they're going to be less dense. And that means by volume, you're going to be looking at a bit more. So I would say that by volume, that looks more. The actual weight difference is going to be much less. Right. There's definitely more than 5 grams. I'll decide how much to put in. But first of all, let's warm up our Gaiwans. We've got a tea lifted Gaiwan here and a tea drunk Gaiwan. So let's go with the Shimmer Bliss Roadie, in other words, the standard fine picked PuErh. Let's use that with tea lifted. So now I'm going to do the smell of those dry leaves. We've left this for about a week after its arrival in London. I'm going to say that is around 5 grams. Take a look at those leaves. As I said, Yiwu tends to have a slightly more plummy sheen to it than a lot of other PuErh provinces. Always an exciting moment when you get to smell a freshly arrived raw PuErh. Oh, I'm getting a zestiness there and a freshness. I would say that we have some of those creamy toffee notes, a little bit of orange, but deeper than a fresh orange or a mandarin, maybe more like a dark blood orange or a pink grapefruit. No, I would say blood orange. It's got that deeper, stronger, more mature smell to it, and a freshness, a very sort of nice, slightly floral freshness, like just morning meadow air, you know, when you step out after maybe you've been camping on a nice morning in a meadow. A bit of spillage here. I've got my Gaiwan Styles t-shirt on. You can check those out. And the matching Gaiwan Styles towel. So let's just stick this there to clear up any spillages. And now let's put in the Huangpian. So as I said, because it's larger leaves are going to be less dense than the standard picking of smaller leaves, and that's why I'm putting visually a lot more. But it's about the same weight. Okay, now let's smell the difference that the Huangpian makes. So I'm still getting that morning air. I'm getting that fresh note. It's less vibrant, it's less in your face, but it's really, really lovely. It's more creamy, I would say. There's a little bit more of the warmth coming through than the sort of zesty zinginess of the standard pluck of the Shimmer Bliss Roadie. Yeah, toffees and creams and fudgy note to it, but the freshness is there as well. In fact, it's got a sort of, instead of the blood orange, it's got a lighter fruity note. So I would say it's lighter in terms of its fruitiness, maybe more in the tropical creamy fruits like mangosteen, like the smell of mangosteen. So I'm getting a little bit of tang compared to the more, you know, bold blood orange note of the Shimmer Bliss Roadie. They are both smelling gorgeous. Right, let's smell those wet leaves. Very important, whoops, big spillage. Definitely need that towel. Very important that you take your time when you're doing this. The aroma is, in my opinion, just as, if not even more important than the taste. Let's rinse in here. I don't have a tea pet today. We're going more simple in terms of our setup. Just get this towel, give this a wipe. Okay, so already you can see difference in the color of the liquor, but we will check that out later. Right, nose wet leaf. Okay, I'm getting a little bit more depth now. A sort of creamy, burnt sugar and cream note coming through. You'll notice the cover was that reclining lion on a very hot summer's day, surrounded by sugarcane fields. So when we first tried it as a Mao Cha, it had this very summer, really scorching hot day character to it in terms of the aroma, and I'm picking that up. I'm getting hot rocks and burnt sugars and cream, like creme caramel. You know how creme caramel has that slightly burnt sugar smell to it, and it's got a mineral note to it as well. I said hot rocks, and the freshness is still there, so I'm still getting a little bit of maybe fresh laundry, but again hot, straight out of the dryer, and those blood oranges are coming through as well. So let's compare that to the Huangpian from the same village. Very different. Brighter. So it's interesting because the dry leaf had more deep notes in the smell, but now that it's wet, I'm picking up more of the green in it. And as you saw, the color of the leaves were very different. I'm getting a lime note, but it's more like lime cordial or limeade, you know, or lime, sort of not artificial, but concentrated lime juice, or lime candies, or lime gummies. You know how you can get those gummy sweets that are bright green color? I'm getting that. Lime. It's just very zesty, very fresh. I mean, there is still a creaminess there, but it's less than in the nose dry leaf and less than in Shimmer Bliss Roadie, now that this one has had a chance to rehydrate. Okay, so I'm going to be brewing these separately just so that I give each one their due. We got boiling hot water, 95 to 99 degrees. That's 205 to 210 Fahrenheit. And we're going to brew for about 15 to 20 seconds. This is when my internal clock is not renowned, but that's probably about 10. Here we go. Go a little bit longer. That's probably about 20 seconds, but I really want to get the flavor out of it in the first infusion. Whenever I'm doing these tastings in front of the camera, I'm conscious of the fact that I can't go through 7-8 infusions with you, so I'm trying to, in a way, just push the first infusion a little bit more than I would necessarily recommend. Color of the liquor, you're gonna have to remember it, but look at that. Wow. So to my eye, that's a sort of, it's a gold color, but it has a sort of peachy or apricot, more like apricot yellow note to it. Right, here we go. We've got our little sake cups here. Shimmer Bliss Roadie on a lovely summer's day. Cheers. If only I was reclining like that lion. Texture is lovely and thick, very, very thick. Smooth, thick. So thick it's almost difficult to swallow. It's so thick, it's so rich and unctuous. Taste is lovely. I'm picking up the classic Yiwu taste, sort of soft, gentle sweetness, a creaminess there, and a fruitiness that I don't remember from tasting the Maocha when we selected it. The fruit is very much like fresh apricots, so not zingy at all, more sweet and pulpy, you know, that fresh apricot, not dried apricot, no tang to it, just very, very sweet fruitiness. There is a minerality coming through as well, and I'm noticing that through a tingly sensation on my tongue, but I'm getting those hot rocks. I want to say sauna, but you know how sauna rocks have a slightly burnt smell to it? It's not like that. It's just really like those hot summer's days. Very hot rock minerality, and the sweetness now building up is a beautiful honeyed sweetness. Almost got, you know how some honeys have a slight bitter sweet note to it, like heather honey. It's a very potent sweet note, but it has a slight rounded bitterness, not a sharp bitterness, just a sort of rounded, noticeable little bite there, which comes with that heather honey sweetness. Delicious, very, very happy with that. Right, now let's compare that to Office Gossip Juice. So this is the Huangpian. We're going to brew for around the same amount of time. You'll notice that there's probably going to be less liquor coming out because of the fact that there's more volume of leaf, and therefore it's going to occupy more of the Gai 1 and it'll absorb in as well. So again, no filter here. I've got a filter, but I'm not going to use it because I really want to get the full texture of it. I would say that's around the same time. Those of you on the stopwatch, I'm sure will tell me in the comments how wrong I am. Let's take a look at the color. I would say that that color is similar, obviously, but a little bit lighter, a little bit greener, maybe a little bit more rosy. Okay. All important, the taste. Here we go. Texture is noticeably thinner. It's still, I would call it medium thickness, but the first thing that you notice here, apart from the look of these two cakes, is that the Huangpian, larger leaves, produces textured tea that is thinner than buds and younger leaves. That's just a straight up rule across all tea types. If you want thicker, more syrupy tea, you're going to be looking for bud and younger leaves rather than just third, fourth leaves. Unless, of course, you're charcoal roasting, and that adds a whole other complexity to it, but that's a different story. But the taste is very dynamic. It has immediately got a very fresh note to it, sort of like laundry or talcum powder, so that very fresh talc smell. It's got a little tang to the sides, back sides of my tongue, a little, just very brief. You get this sort of wave of like, woof, like this tang comes in, this zest, and it's not sour, but it's a little tang. And I would equate it to a sort of very gentle fruity tang. Like, you know, if you have pears and you have the skin, just the skin by itself, and the skin can have just a little bit more tang to it than the actual flesh. And there is a deeper fruity note coming through as well. What is that? Very familiar fruit. Sort of rose hippie, deeper. I don't know, I want to say hawthorn fruit. Those hawthorn sweets that you get in Chinese supermarkets is that sort of jammy fruitiness, and there's also a floral note going through as well. jasmine, orchid, something like that. So as a quick snapshot, my first tasting here, Shimmer Bliss Roadie is hot rock minerality, fresh apricots, honeys, altogether thicker, altogether sweeter, and it's also got a zesty blood orange zestiness and zinginess to it, and it has more physicality in the mouth when I first drank it. The Huangpian is slightly lighter in terms of its texture, slightly lighter in terms of its finish, but the flavor notes are, I would say, in the brighter areas. We've got talcum, we've got those hawthorn fruits, a little bit of that pear skin sourness or tang, and it does have some minerality and some floral notes to it as well. Right, let's give these both another brew, and then we're gonna smell the empty Guangdao, but we need to at least have one more brew of these, and I will try to brew these simultaneously, so we can add about 5 seconds here to each infusion. So we're talking about 25 seconds or so. That's probably it. So we can now do a direct color comparison. You can see the color difference quite clearly here. Okay, let's take a look at this in the camera. Take these off. Always important to let your leaves release the steam. I don't know about you, but I can see a difference from here. This is slightly greener, a little bit more muted. This is definitely brighter and a little bit more apricot gold color. So you can see the difference that the picking makes in these teas. Now, side by side tasting. Shimmer Bliss, Office Gossip Juice. Cheers. Wow, really lovely, rounded, gentle, sweet, honeyed, classic Yiwu, classic, little bit of sort of cookie dough and just that sort of confectionery taste. A little bit of marzipan popping in there. It's like walking into a confectionery shop, like some marzipans, candied almonds, those kinds of things, heather honey, a little bit of that bitterness, which I love. It's just on the center back of the tongue, very soft, very smooth, moving. Let's focus now on this finish. It's giving me a nice, dry to juicy, tingly finish, and that juiciness is nectary, but that's when the zest comes out. That's when I'm picking up that blood orange, but definitely active, physical. Usually means more body effect as well. Office Gossip Juice, definitely lighter in texture, but brighter. Got that morning dewy air. That pear skin sourness is still there, but it's a little bit lighter. And yeah, orchids and hawthorn fruit. But the finish is still dry to juicy, but just less tingly, less active. So that's one of the key differences here, is with the Huangpian, you're getting less concentration of all of those sort of active nutrients that are going to give you that physicality and tingliness on the tongue. Please don't get me wrong, this is still a very active tea and it will still pack a punch, but that is the difference that the picking makes. Texture is definitely different too, and the taste is slightly brighter, slightly greener. Right, let's fill up these and have a sniff of the empty Guangdao Bays. Very important quality marker for all teas, but for me especially PUERHS. Let's start with the Huangpian. So it's sweet, but there's a slight saltiness there as well. Sort of egg custard note to it. And the sweetness is sugar syrup, or maybe a bit more complicated than that. It's not maple syrup, maybe like agave or something that's a little, it's still a bit more complex than simple sugar syrup. Oh, so there are similarities. Oh, there's very little difference, but there's a slight nuttiness to this one here. It reminds me a little bit of, you know, if you go to some areas where there are lots of tourists, you get those people doing those caramelized nuts, caramelized peanuts. That sort of caramelized nut smell is in here, as well as a little bit of orchid note as well. Delicious. Definitely fresher, brighter, and a slight tangy zinginess to this one. This one's just rounder, more, I would say, fuller in terms of its taste. So that's, you know, the general difference that I've always found with standard picking versus Huangpian. Huangpian is a lot more affordable, and so it's a great way to just have excellent raw Gushu PuErh without breaking the bank. But they are both delicious, and I highly recommend that you do this side by side. So there you go. The two new raw PuErh, they are now in stock in at mayleaf.com. Two new raw PuErh cakes, Shimmer Bliss Roadie and Office Gossip Juice, both super high quality Pinnacle teas. They are both available at mayleaf.com, and I hope that you can check them out and do this side-by-side tasting yourselves. That's it, tea heads. Check out our other videos, taste our teas wherever you are in the world by browsing mayleaf.com, and come visit our tea house if you're ever in London. Other than that, thank you for being a part of the revelation of true tea. Stay away from those tea bags, keep drinking the good stuff, and spread the word, because nobody deserves bad tea. Bye.